You hit 50 and something changes. Not the way social media says it does. Not silver fox season. Not the fantasy where life suddenly becomes a permanent vacation with perfect lighting and a new partner who understands you without you speaking. What changes is simpler and heavier. You stop being willing to pay for noise. You've already paid for noise. You paid with overtime, with sleep, with stress, with the years you don't get back. You paid through the grind of building a career, holding a family together, absorbing pressure, staying composed when you wanted to walk away. You paid through the kind of losses that don't fit in a caption: divorce, betrayal, funerals, loneliness that shows up at 2 a.m. when the house is finally quiet. So when you reach this age, a strange lie starts circling you from every direction. Now it's time to find someone. As if your life is incomplete without an audience. As if peace requires a partner. As if the highest badge of success is being coupled up again. That lie is attractive because it's simple. It offers a single solution to a complicated feeling. But you didn't survive half a century by falling for simple solutions. Here is the truth most men learn the hard way. Not because they're bitter, but because they're awake. A relationship after 50 can be beautiful. It can also be a second career, a second mortgage, and a second set of obligations if you enter it from a need instead of strength. And a man who has earned his quiet should not volunteer for a life that steals it. You don't need a girlfriend to prove you're still alive. You need a life that makes you want to stay alive. You need sovereignty. Sovereignty is not loneliness. Sovereignty is ownership. It's the ability to decide how you spend your time, how you protect your health, how you invest your money, and how you recover when life hits you without negotiating your nervous system every day. Men understand this more than they admit. A lot of men over 50 are not afraid of being alone. They're afraid of being trapped again, trapped in constant expectation, trapped in emotional management, trapped in the quiet pressure to explain themselves, trapped in the feeling that their peace is always conditional. And if you're honest, that fear is not paranoia, it's experience. Because by this age, you've already seen how a man can lose his edge without realizing it. Not in a dramatic moment, in a slow leak. He stops training because he's busy. He stops sleeping because nights are full of tension and screens and unresolved conversations. He stops calling his friends because someone else now owns his weekends. He starts spending money without noticing how often. He starts apologizing for things he didn't do. He starts living in a constant state of mild stress, the kind that doesn't look like a crisis until it becomes one. That's not love, that's depletion. A man over 50 has a different job than a man at 25. At 25, you can rebuild from almost anything. You can sleep 4 hours and eat junk to take emotional hits and bounce back because your body is a rubber band. After 50, you're not a rubber band. You're a machine with parts that need maintenance and respect. Your margin is smaller, and that's not weakness, that's a reality. So the question is not, can you date? The question is, what does dating cost you, and is the return worth it? Because the costs are not only financial, the first cost is time. Time is not abstract anymore. Time is your most limited asset. You can make money again. You can't manufacture decades. The second cost is energy. Energy is not motivation. Energy is biology. It's recovery. It's hormone balance, sleep quality, inflammation, joint health, stress load. If your days become a constant series of negotiations and disruptions, your body pays. The third cost is mental clarity. A lot of men don't realize how much clearer they think when their life is simple. The more emotional friction you add, the less sharp you become. Not because you're incapable, but because attention is finite. The fourth cost is peace. Peace is not laziness. Peace is a strategic advantage. Peace is what allows you to train, to read, to build, to plan, to be present with your kids and grandkids without being reactive and exhausted. And this is the part no one sells you, because it doesn't make a cute movie. Peace is what makes your final decades your best decades. So if you're going to invite someone into your life after 50, the standard cannot be, I don't want to be alone. That standard is too low. It's a trapdoor. The standard has to be, does this person add to my peace, protect my health, respect my time, and align with my values? If the answer is not a clear yes, you don't negotiate with your future, you walk. Because a man at this age doesn't have the luxury of ignoring patterns. If you notice that your blood pressure rises every time your phone lights up, pay attention. If you notice you're sleeping worse, training less, spending more, and feeling quietly pressured, pay attention. If you notice your life shrinking, pay attention. No one else will protect your peace for you. Now let's address the thing men don't like to say out loud. A lot of men go looking for a partner after 50 for one reason of relief. Relief from quiet, relief from grief, relief from feeling unwanted, relief from the fact that their social circle got smaller, relief from the fact that the house can feel too silent. That's understandable, it's human. But if you try to cure emptiness by importing a person, you don't get cured, you get dependent. And dependence is dangerous, because when you're dependent, you tolerate things you shouldn't. You ignore red flags because you don't want to start over. You give more than you can afford if emotionally, financially, physically, because you're afraid of losing the connection. You reshape your routine around keeping someone else comfortable, and you call it compromise, but inside you feel yourself disappearing. Men don't need more pressure at this age. Men need a system for health, a system for money, a system for friendships, a system for purpose, a system for joy that doesn't require anyone's permission. Because here's the reality. A romantic relationship is not the only form of companionship, and it may not even be the best one for you. Companionship that lasts is often built through brotherhood, community, and shared purpose. A weekly gym routine with a friend, a standing coffee with a mentor, a hobby group where you build things with your hands, a volunteer role where you contribute and feel needed, a trip you take with a friend who doesn't create drama, a relationship with your children and grandchildren that isn't filtered through anyone else's expectations. These things do something romance often fails to do in the later life. They stabilize you without controlling you. That's the difference between connection and obligation. Connection strengthens your life. Obligation consumes it. And if you've already spent decades in obligation provider and protector, problem solver, you've earned the right to stop volunteering for more of it. This doesn't mean you become cold. It means you become disciplined. Discipline after 50 is not about impressing anyone. It's about preserving what you've built. Preserving your health is not vanity. It's survival. Preserving your finances is not selfishness. It's independence. Preserving your routine is not rigidity. It's stability. Preserving your solitude is not sadness. It's recovery. Now let's talk about money, because men pretend it's not emotional, but it is. Money is the physical form of your time. Every dollar you have represents hours of your life you already spent. It represents mornings you woke up when you didn't feel like it. It represents years you carried responsibility. It represents risks you took. It represents sacrifices you made. So when you casually bleed money in a late life relationship, constant dinners, trips, upgrades, financial help, solving problems that aren't yours, you're not just spending cash. You're spending your past. A man at this age should treat his finances like a fortress, not because he hates anyone, but because life is unpredictable. Health events happen, family needs happen, inflation happens. Mistakes compound faster when you have fewer working years ahead. Being generous is fine. Funding a lifestyle you didn't choose is not. And if you ever feel pressured, guilted, or tested around money, that is not romance. That is a power dynamic. A healthy relationship doesn't require you to prove your value by paying for it. It respects boundaries. And boundaries are what separate a strong man from a used man. Here are the boundaries a man over 50 must have if he chooses to date. First, your routine is not negotiable. Your training, sleep, medical appointments, and recovery are non-negotiable. Anyone who treats your health like an inconvenience is not a partner. They are a risk. Second, your finances are not a shared project until trust is proven over time. Keep accounts separate. Keep paperwork clean. Keep your decisions slow and deliberate. Love that rushes you is not love, it's pressure. Third, your time is valuable. You're not available for constant checking in, emotional emergencies manufactured out of boredom, or drama disguised as communication. Communication is calm and direct. Drama is constant and unclear. Learn the difference. Fourth, your family relationships are yours to manage. You can be respectful, but you don't surrender your relationship with your children, grandchildren, or friends to someone else's insecurities. Fifth, you don't become anyone's therapist. You can care, you can listen, but you are not a rehabilitation center. You are not a rescue mission. If someone needs professional help, encourage it. Do not volunteer your nervous system as the treatment plan. These boundaries are not walls. They are standards. A man without standards is easy to access and easy to drain. Now let's address the other thing no one wants to say. Dating after 50 is a different marketplace. It's different expectations, different histories, different bodies, different baggage, different realities. You are not dating a blank slate. You are dating a whole life. And that can be fine if you're realistic. But what too many men do is chase youth as a way to avoid their own aging. They chase the feeling of being chosen. They chase the fantasy of starting over without consequences. They chase validation. And validation is expensive. Validation costs you your dignity because it turns you into a performer. You start trying to sound younger, dress younger, act like a version of yourself you no longer are. You become a salesman of your own life, pitching why you deserve attention. That is not strength. That is need. A man over 50 should never beg for relevance. Your relevance is not determined by apps or likes or whether someone texted you back. Your relevance is determined by whether you are building a life you respect. So if you're going to date, you date from abundance. My life is good. I'm inviting someone into it. I'm not trying to be rescued from it. And if you're not dating, you don't treat that as failure. You treat it as strategy. Because solitude, when used correctly, becomes sanctuary. Sanctuary is waking up when you want. Sanctuary is a coffee in silence. Sanctuary is a clean house and a clear mind. Sanctuary is a spontaneous road trip with no negotiation. Sanctuary is choosing your own food, your own music, your own pace. Sanctuary is rebuilding your strength without an audience. And if you've never experienced that kind of sovereignty, you might mistake it for loneliness. But loneliness is not the absence of people. Loneliness is the absence of meaning. You could be surrounded and still lonely. You can be alone and feel full. Meaning is what fills a man. Meaning is created, not found. Meaning comes from building something, a project, a craft, a routine, a mission, a skill you always wanted to learn, a discipline you always wanted to master. Meaning comes from service, mentoring a younger man, helping your community, being a stable presence for family, contributing instead of consuming. Meaning comes from brotherhood, men who hold you accountable, men who respect you, men who don't need you to perform, just to show up. And here's an uncomfortable truth. Many men chase romance because they never built these other pillars. So the relationship becomes the pillar. And when it shakes, everything shakes. That's why the smartest move after 50 is not find someone. The smartest move is to build a life that does not collapse if you're alone. Build a life that is steady. A steady life is not flashy. It's powerful. A steady life looks like strength training and walking as default, not optional. A medical checkup schedule you actually follow. A diet that supports energy instead of numbing stress. A sleep routine you protect like a weapon. A budget that keeps your future safe. A home that feels calm. A calendar that is not overcrowded. A small circle you can trust. A hobby that makes you lose track of time. A purpose that pulls you forward. That is what winning looks like after 50. Not a new ring. Not a new partner to prove you're still desirable. Not a romantic story for other people to clap for. Your win is waking up with peace in your chest. Because peace is rare. And a man who has found it should guard it. Now let's talk about the danger men often ignore. Vulnerability. Men over 50 can become vulnerable in ways they don't recognize. Not because they are weak. Because grief changes the brain. Because loneliness changes decision-making. Because stress changes impulse control. Because a lack of sleep changes judgment. Because the desire to feel chosen again can override logic. If you're vulnerable, you can rush. You can trust too soon. You can give too much. You can ignore inconsistencies. You can chase the relief of attention like a drug. So protect yourself with rules. Move slowly. Watch patterns, not promises. Trust behavior over words. Keep your finances separate. Keep your boundaries clear. Keep your friend circle active. Keep your routines intact. Don't isolate. Isolation is where men get reckless. And you don't have room for reckless. You're not 25 with decades to recover from a mistake. You're a grown man with a legacy. Legacy is not just money. Legacy is the quality of your remaining years. Legacy is your health. Legacy is the relationship you have with your children. Legacy is whether your grandkids remember you as steady and present or stressed and distracted. Legacy is whether you become calmer with age or more compromised. A man earns sovereignty by making hard decisions early, so he doesn't face disasters later. That brings us to the clearest point. You do not need a girlfriend to heal. If you're carrying pain, the solution is not to hand that pain to someone else and hope they soothe it. The solution is to build a life that heals you, movement that stabilizes your mood, friendship that grounds you, purpose that gives you direction. Therapy or coaching if you need it, because strong men use tools. Time in nature. Time away from noise. Time doing what you forgot you loved. Healing is not romantic. It's repetitive. It's early mornings. It's discipline. It's letting yourself feel what you avoided. It's learning to sit in silence without trying to escape it. Most men don't need more excitement. They need more stability. Now, if you choose a relationship, choose it like a man who respects himself. Choose someone who respects your calm. Someone who doesn't manufacture conflict. Someone who has their own life, their own friends, their own responsibilities. Someone who doesn't need you to be their entire world. Someone who makes your life simpler, not more complicated. Someone who can communicate without punishment, guilt, or games. Someone who sees your boundaries and doesn't try to negotiate them down. That kind of relationship exists, but it is rare enough that you don't chase it. You live your life and you allow it only if it meets your standards. Because the goal is not to avoid being alone. The goal is to avoid being drained. There is a difference. A man can be alone and powerful. A man can be partnered and hollow. Your job now is not to impress anyone. Your job is to protect what you've earned. You earned your mornings. You earned your freedom. You earned your right to do nothing without justifying it. You earned your chair, your quiet, your routine, your pace. You earned the right to choose what you do with the rest of your life. And the world will try to convince you that choosing yourself is selfish. It isn't. It's responsible. Because if you don't choose yourself, no one else will do it for you. They will choose what benefits them. They will choose what they want. They will choose their comfort. That's human nature. So you must lead your own life. This is what sovereignty looks like. You wake up and your day belongs to you. You move your body because it keeps you alive. You eat with intention because you respect your future. You spend money with discipline because independence is priceless. You keep friendships because men need men. You build purpose because meaning is medicine. You date only if it adds peace, not if it fills a void. You walk away the moment your peace becomes a bargaining chip, and you stop apologizing for wanting a calm life. Calm is not boring. Calm is mastery. A man who is calm is hard to manipulate. A man who is calm is hard to bait. A man who is calm can think. A man who is calm can lead. A man who is calm can enjoy what he has without constantly reaching for more. After 50, you don't need to be saved. You need to be steady. You don't need someone to complete you. You need to complete your habits. You don't need chaos disguised as passion. You need peace disguised as a simple day that you control. You've been sold the idea that love is the finish line. But the finish line isn't romance. The finish line is freedom. Freedom to live at your pace. Freedom to breathe without tension. Freedom to invest in your health. Freedom to enjoy your money without anxiety. Freedom to be present with the people who matter. Freedom to wake up and know you don't owe anyone an explanation for your existence. That is not loneliness. That is the reward. And once you taste it, you stop chasing anything that threatens it. So if you're over 50 and you feel the pressure to date, pressure to prove, pressure to partner up again, hear this clearly. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're not failing because you're alone. You are in a position many men never reach. You have the chance to live the rest of your life on your terms. Guard that chance. Build your days like they matter. Build your body like you plan to keep it. Build your finances like you respect your future. Build your friendships like you know you'll need them. Build your purpose like you're not done. And if someone comes along who truly adds to that life, who respects your boundaries, supports your peace, and strengthens your health, then you can choose them. Not from hunger, from power. Because the greatest love story a man can live after 50 is not the story of being chosen by someone else. It's the story of choosing himself fully, firmly, without shame, and living free.